Hello and welcome to Channels Book Club. It's great to be back on the show again. We're always excited to be on the show every week. We talk to writers, authors, publishers, book lovers, policymakers, and everybody that has anything to do with books. We just want to promote and encourage a reading culture because books are very powerful. Our stories are hidden in books. And today we've got an autobiography. Now, the autobiographer makes the autobiography. If you were to stand in front of a bookshelf now and you saw a book written by Nelson Mandela, an autobiography. His autobiography, by the way, is titled A Long Walk to Freedom. If you saw A Long Walk to Freedom, even if you don't have time, you will be tempted to pick up that book because it was written by Madiba. Now, that's the same thing. If you saw an autobiography written by a sports star or a political star or a business star, you're more likely to pick up, the book to read. But if you also see an autobiography written by somebody who is not so known, and you read the profile of that author at the back, and you could get inspired and encouraged to read the book simply because of the story or the profile of the autobiographer. Today, we've got a very special autobiographer on the show today. She's an exceptional woman in the business field. She's also a philanthropist, and she wears so many other hats. Let's get to meet her, and after that, we'll enjoy the conversation we had with her.
Apostle Folorunsho Alakija is a business mogul, philanthropist, public speaker, and entrepreneur with years of experience in the oil, fashion, real estate, and printing industries. She is the executive vice chairman of FAMFA Oil Limited and group managing director of the Rose of Sharon Group, which consists of the Rose of Sharon Prints and Promotions Limited. She is also the founder of Rose of Sharon Foundation, which helps widows and orphans with scholarship and business grants. Folorunsho Alakija is a writer and has authored 16 books, including 2 autobiographies. Her recent autobiography, Blossoming with the Hand That Gives the Rose, is her life story detailing her journey in the last 10 years.
Apostle Alakija, nice to have you on Channels Book Club.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, you are hosting us today, so thank you. Great to be with you. It's been 10 years since you wrote your first autobiography.
Yes.
This is your second
Yes.
autobiography.
Yes.
What inspired this? Very interesting read, I have to say.
Thank you very much. I promised God that for every 10 years that He spares my life, that I would write a sequel to the first autobiography to honor Him, to show Him my appreciation for sparing my life.
Okay.
And obviously to document what happened in the last 10 years.
10 years. 10 years is a lot of time, actually.
Yes.
It's a lot of time.
Yes.
Yeah. So every 10 years, we should expect one autobiography from you.
By His grace.
But it's been 70 exciting years. I gather that from your book for you. Congratulations, ma.
Thank you.
Well done. You wrote somewhere in your book. Let me quote what you wrote about what the last 70, what happened very early
Okay.
in your life. You wrote in page 12
Okay.
of your new autobiography.
Okay.
About 70 years ago, I was born into a family of 52 children and 8 wives. Let's not even talk about that. 52.
Yes.
Incredible. 52 children and 8 wives. As a young child and well into my adult years, I could not see where my life was leading. Despite my dreams and ambitions of making the most of my life, the future seemed hazy. Looking back, since then, it's been an exciting, full life for you, hasn't it been?
It certainly has. It's had its ups and downs as well. it's been like you've been on a roller coaster. Nobody sees the future except God. He's the one that knows the end from the beginning and knows the beginning to the end. So it's like you're going in there almost with your eyes closed until you begin to have directions yourself and begin to make decisions for yourself and learn from yourself the kind of person you are.
That you are.
Yes. What makes you tick, what you like, what you prefer, what you don't like, and try to smooth the edges as you go along. Life is short, and we need to make the most of it for the period that we're here for.
So at that point in time, like you wrote, things were hazy, unclear.
Yeah, they were unclear. They were unclear. When I became a teenager, they started getting clearer. Don't forget, I come from a very big family.
52 children.
52 children.
8 wives.
8 wives.
Your father tried.
He got very busy, shall we say.
He was busy.
He was busy. So the wives weren't exactly each other's friends as expected, but the children were.
Well,
Yes.
okay.
So you can say, oh, my sister, my brother, oh, we are friends. And blood has brought us together. We feel attached to one another. And my age group, there were quite a few females amongst us. And we always looked forward to our holidays. And we would shop together, eat together, go to parties together. So we looked forward to that. That was nice. We never minded our mothers. Let's put it that way. They got on.
They got on.
They got on with their affairs.
In their own ways.
Whether they were going to be upset with one another or be friendly with one another. So it was a roller coaster for them. But for us, the children, we got along quite well. Yes. And as a teenager, you begin to try to get an idea of how you want to develop as an adult and what you want out of life. And you begin to work towards it. Yes.
One central theme, and when I read books, I always look out for, you know, what's the central theme? What's the central thrust? What stands out? One thing that stands out in your book is your spirituality. It oozes out almost every page. You talk about the influence of God in your life and the impact of God in your life and the direction of God in your life. Does that sum up your life? Does it summarize this book for you?
I would say yes. It's a very good observation. And I'm glad you noticed it, because it's my way of giving back to God. Knowing when I look back that He had been the one that had been orchestrating my life. It wasn't me that was directing my life, apparently. He was the one that was showing me the way to go. I didn't know it at the time. But as I said, looking back, I realized that He was the one that put things in place at, you know, certain milestones, you understand, and made all things work together for my good that brought me this far.
Wow. That same place I read, you said, in one of those moments of uncertainty, I said a heartfelt prayer asking God to bless me and I will serve Him. You ask God to bless you and that you will serve Him if you did. All the days of my life. In His faithfulness, God kept His word, and by His grace, I am keeping mine. Yes. And once I read that, I began to notice that throughout the subsequent chapters. You know, even in the chapter where you discussed about business, you spoke about how God is the one behind any business you are running. Or rather,
Correct.
if you don't have that understanding, you will likely fail or stumble in business. Yeah. So that seems to be the core of your life.
Correct.
It drives you,
Oh,
your
yes.
decisions, everything. That
Absolutely.
spirituality is key for you.
It is key. It's my guiding light. Let's put it that way. I came to Christ at the age of 40, which was like 30 years ago, when I made that covenant with God. And it opened my eyes up to His power, to His love, to His grace, to His leading and direction. All we need to do really is to always take everything to God, no matter how mundane. He's always ready and willing to answer us and to help us and to answer our questions. Yes. Once you have that, you can't say that things are hazy anymore. You understand?
Yeah.
Because when you're a little bit confused, when you don't know whether you should turn to the right or turn to the left, He's the one that will tell you when you should, where you should turn to, and what decision you should make. And He's always right. If you ask man, man will mislead you. Man never has the perfect answer. He's the God of perfection. He's always on time as well. He's never late. So the more you get involved with Him, the more He will help you and the more love He will show you. And the more success you will have in every area of your life. Some people may be wondering, how does she do it? What makes her tick? You understand? For 40 years, I didn't know Him. And when I did, I've been running with Him. And I could ask myself now, what took me so long? If only I knew better. If I knew Him earlier. Maybe the what I enjoy now, I could have been enjoying it a lot earlier than now.
A lot of people, when they talk about you out there in Nigeria, it's about your money and your wealth and your business. You're probably familiar with that. But I'm reading your book and I noticed that you did not place so much emphasis on money. Your story is about the place of God in your life. One other thing that stands out is family and marriage. Now, in the chapter where you wrote about the principles of your life, I noticed you listed 12 principles that govern your life. Now, of the 12 principles that govern your life, I counted and I noticed that 6 have to do with family, 5 have to do with marriage. And marriage and family are practically the same. Anyway.
Correct.
So, of the 12 principles governing your life, 11 of them have to do with family. And that told me that family is a very important concept in your life. And in this book, there is a section on family. What's your take on that? That's the way you look at life, isn't it?
Well, listen, look at it this way. Even if you make all the money in the world and you have no one to share it with, what's the use making the money? Money will come and go, but your family is your family. They're not going anywhere, or they shouldn't be going anywhere. And apart from God, it's family that's going to make you happier. Some people think that it's money that's going to make you happier. No. Money is a tool. Money doesn't buy you love.
Is money overrated?
We need money. Everybody needs money. You understand? Everybody needs
so
money.
you don't use the word overrated for it.
It has its place. It has its place. It's good to have. You understand? But you can have money and not be happy.
Yeah.
So, what would be the use of it? You understand? Everybody needs to have money to a certain degree. But we all have to learn to be content with what we have. That is not to say that you should not be ambitious. Of course you should be ambitious. Of course you should want more. You understand? But not want more to the extent to then harm your fellow human beings to get more. That's not it. No way.
Okay, so one of the things about your book is it provides insights into how you think about issues in society. And one of those is your thoughts on the way society perceives or treats women. In the chapter on your accomplishments, you wrote about how when you were made the chancellor of a university in Osun State, despite that, the following morning or the following day, you saw a newspaper headline saying, for Alakija, how I wash my husband's boxers or something ridiculous like that. And you were a bit upset that how could that have been the headline rather than you becoming chancellor of a university. And then you gave some other examples. Mrs. Awoshika, First Bank, you know, how a similar headline was published after her appointment. Dr. Okonjo-Iweala, some Swiss newspapers had some other ridiculous headlines like calling her a grandmother and all that, rather than her accomplishments. So this is of a very important concern to you, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was right. When it comes to men, they don't write like that about them when they have just accomplished a new feat or moved to another level, or received an award, or whatever. Those are the kind of things that they write about them. Why would journalists not appreciate the efforts of women too, by acknowledging it? You understand me? Rather than use it to sort of make it look as if, and so what?
Yeah.
What was that? We don't need to talk about that. Let's talk about how they look after the children, how they...
It's sad.
That's not the time to talk about... We love looking after our children. We love looking after our families. But that's not the time for that. You understand? Mm-hmm. When it's not to do with the family, why are you talking about the family? Mm-hmm. Why don't you talk about the issue on ground? That's what we're talking about. Why do they keep doing that to women? That's why I raised an eyebrow. And I was a bit upset.
Why are your two autobiographies almost titled the same way? Your first autobiography, Growing with the Hand That Gives the Rose. And then this autobiography, Blossoming with the Hand That Gives the Rose. Is there a story behind that?
There is a story behind it.
You want to share that?
I will. A lady came to my office to interview me for a magazine. When the magazine came out, she titled my section of the magazine, The Hand That Gives the Rose. Oh, I was in shock. And I said, I'm not the hand that gives the rose. No. The rose is a beautiful flower. Everybody appreciates the look of the rose. And Jesus is the rose of Sharon. You understand? And if he were the one to give you a flower, we know what it means. I mean, flowers blossom, it's a different time and part of your life, and he's the one that I see as the one that blesses you, to bring you to that point of blossoming. You understand? So I saw my life, the first 60 years of my life, as especially the last 20 years, between 40 and 60, as a different time in my life when I discovered God and I was moving along with him and developing a relationship with him, and I was growing with him. So I decided to title my book, Growing with the Hand That Gives the Rose.
Wow.
And this one is called Blossoming with the Hand That Gives the Rose. I was growing, and then there gets a point where you blossom. So I'm beginning to blossom.
So writing is something core to your life now. I gathered so from your autobiography. And I know that every 5 years, you mentioned, you release about 5 new books.
5 or 6.
5 or 6 new books. That's a lot of work. If you do 5 books every 5 years, that's a book a year. And you run businesses, you run your NGO, you deal with orphans and widows and all that. How do you deal with that? How do you handle that?
God helping me. When God helps you, right? Okay, let me say, when you become a born-again Christian, right, you enjoy the grace of God more than you used to. You understand? When Jesus came, since he came and went, right, died, we entered into that covenant of grace through him. So you have that enabling power that you begin to enjoy, where you can stress less, work less, and achieve more through grace. So it is that grace that has been helping out. And the more you give him the glory, the more grace you will enjoy.
One last thing I need to ask you about this book. I know it can get very tricky picking the pictures that you use in a book. I know it can get very tricky, but lovely pictures you've got in here.
Thank you.
Lovely pictures. How people often talk about nostalgia when they are writing autobiographies. Some of the memories you have when you are writing, some are pleasant, some are not so pleasant. It's difficult writing some parts of autobiography, particularly when they involve digging out difficult memories. What was that like for you? Not just the photos now, the whole experience of writing this, bringing back those lovely memories and the not so lovely ones. What was that like for you?
Because these are things that happened in my life, because it's not fiction, because you're not writing from it through a third party, you understand, it's easier. And I'm oftentimes writing chronologically, especially with that first autobiography. It was chronological throughout. This one was a bit topical, but you know, when you get into each topic, it's still, you know, relating how things occurred, how they happened, when they happened, why they happened, and all of that. So it's flowing, and it's you're just digging from the well, basically. So it just comes naturally.
Comes naturally.
That's right.
If there's one thing you would like a reader of this to go with, what will that be? I know there are so many themes in here and so many issues you addressed, different chapters, different sections. But if there was one thing you would like a reader of this book to go with, what would that be?
the last part of the book. But they'll have to go and find out.
They have to go and find out. Okay. Great, Apostle Alakija. It's been great having this conversation with you.
Thank you very much indeed.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. She certainly isn't looking 70, and it was such an exciting time for us. So many lessons packed into that conversation. And the rest of those lessons you will find in her new book, Blossoming with the Hand That Gives the Rose, her autobiography, Apostle Folorunsho Alakija. And you may want to look out for her reading, which we are going to be airing not too long from now. It's been great to be on the show again today. We'll be delighted to get your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. My name is Olakunle Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.